So something powerful and interesting happened, and in all places, Canadian morning television. And I know it sounds like I'm pulling your leg because, let's face it, morning television, I mean, it does what it does, but I don't consider it a powerhouse. I don't consider it a big statement. I mean, it's there to, tell you the stories of overnight, and maybe they do fun games and bring you the weather outside the door, and, it's morning television. It's kind of there to be the, you know, somewhat informational, but also kind of the background noise while you're doing the regular morning routine of deciding what to wear and making your breakfast and stuff like that. But I have to take a moment. I have to take a moment to look at breakfast television in Toronto. Because out of all places, I was surprised. I was surprised when co-host Sid Zaria, I think I pronounced his name correctly. I had like a 10-minute argument with myself on how to say it, or Sid Zero. I forgive me if I mispronounce his name, but he's a sportscaster for one thing. He was worked at Sportsnet. He's does the Tim and Sid show on Sportsnet, and he did the Fan 590 for Sportsnet. So he's a big time sportscaster, and now he's co-hosting breakfast television there. And one of the things that was the most interesting is having a sportscaster on there. He was able to speak his mind, and it kind of seems weird because you don't really see that in morning television. Like I said, morning television, it is what it is. But I have to take note of this for a second, because this is probably the most interesting moment you would see on a show, even for breakfast television. Because nowhere have I ever seen statements that Sid's going to make in regards to this. So he's made commentary before on, the Trudeau government. He's made commentary about the Pierre Poilievre winning conservatorship. He, made comments about the Toronto mayor. He's a commentator. He's a co-host. He's allowed to, speak his mind and have opinions on things. And he's about to make a statement that is so moving and powerful that it's mesmerizing to see it on breakfast television, of all places. Like, it is really incredible. But instead of me bragging about this, let's actually see what he has to say. Take a listen to this.
I want to say a couple things, because some people agreed with the critique, some people didn't agree with the critique.
Fair.
So, he made statements about Justin Trudeau. He made statements about Trudeau going to Costa Rica while the pandemic and inflation and stuff like that. He's made comments about the fact that there was a federal holiday for the Queen, that people in the government, federal employees were allowed to take the day off. Nobody else took the day off, and it kind of seemed like it was a sidestep. It just didn't seem right that they were going to take a day off to mourn the Queen while everyone else had to work that day. And eventually, people paid, regular workers paid for federal employees to take a day off to mourn the Queen, which it just didn't seem right. So he's made comments about that. So he's about to make a statement about people reacting to his comments. And listen to what he has to say about this.
I am paid to tell you exactly what I'm thinking. I'm going to say that again for everyone in the back who's got some wax in the ear this morning. I am paid. I am not Melanie Ng. I am not Tammy Sutherland. I am not Faiza Amin, our incredible journalists on this show who play it down the middle and do it better than anybody. They look at me for something a little bit different. So I'm going to be brutally honest with you about a lot of stuff we see here. And quite frankly, I think that's why a lot of you watch this show. You can go to other shows and get other things. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. That's why I'm here. I'm not going to be here forever. I'm not naive. But as long as I'm in this, because the business is the business, and we know it. As long as I'm in this chair.
And he points out correctly that the business is the business. So, this is the thing with corporate media, is that even though people say that they're play it by the line and they're not biased and they're supposed to be this anti-bias journalists, they're fact forward, they're not part of any agenda. Even so, you have to think about this. Breakfast television is on City TV. City TV is owned by Rogers. There's definitely going to be agenda working for Rogers. Just like if you're working for CTV, which is owned by Bell. Bell Media has a certain agenda. The CBC has a certain agenda. Chorus Entertainment, that runs global, they have a certain agenda. That's the thing with corporate media. They have an agenda. They're there to make business. It's a business decision. And as much as Brian Selter of CNN likes to disagree about it, it is a business. And they're going to sway to their personal agenda. So that's why corporate media is going to pander towards certain corporations and not actually fact check and not analyze, because they're not independent journalists. They're paid by promoters. They're paid by advertisers. They're paid by, their producers are telling them to say what they need to say, so on and so forth. But what Sid's saying here is that he's a commentator. He's not describing himself as a journalist. He's a commentator. He's just speaking from the heart. He's speaking from, word of mouth. But there's more to this.
That's what I'm doing. Okay? And if you want to say I'm anti-conservative or anti-liberal or anti-NDP or anti-Green Party, sorry, the Green Party isn't that interesting to me, but the other ones. I got receipts on everyone on this show. I have ripped everybody. Because you don't watch all the time isn't my problem. I've ripped our mayor, who I kind of like.
Yeah, you do.
I like our mayor.
He loves you.
He just ripped me too. I got news for him.
He does. He loves
I don't know if you heard it. I've kind of ripped Doug Ford before on this show. I've ripped Justin Trudeau. I've ripped Omar Al-Gabra, our Liberal Minister of Transport. I've ripped all kinds of people from every political party. If you want to isolate me as being against your team, you're an idiot. Because I don't do that here. You can find that online. You can find that on other shows. I am very fair in my disdain for everybody.
So, the reason I'm showing you this and the reason why I find this so moving is this is the kind of speech, this is the kind of statement I wish more people saw when they're, tweeting about things or when they're watching, like, podcasters, for instance. You take a person like Jimmy Dore, you take me, for example. When I'm, doing a video that's critiquing Joe Biden, everyone kind of jumps to the assumption that, because he's angry at Joe Biden, that automatically makes him a Trumper. Or that automatically makes him a conservative. That automatically makes you a right-winger. The people kind of jump that bandwagon, and vice versa. If people are ripping on, conservative, you must be a liberal, you must be this, you must be that, because it's all based on assumption that you have to pick and choose your teams. No. And what he's trying to say and what I've been trying to do is I'm trying to analyze all of it. I'm trying to look at the big picture. Yes, there is a lot of corruption with Justin Trudeau. Yes, there's a lot of corruption with Trump. There's a lot of corruption with Joe Biden. But I'm not picking and choosing individuals. I'm looking at the system as a whole. That's why I'm also criticizing Bernie Sanders, who I liked. I liked Bernie Sanders. I liked Tulsi Gabbard. I was the one that rooted for her. And I critique her because she was part of the Democratic Party. Same with Bernie Sanders. Same with AOC. It's not just I'm picking and choosing to fight with people just because. No, I'm picking apart the system. The system that is corrupted and has these individuals that are placating to it. And that's what this guy is trying to do. He's saying that, look, I'm not picking and choosing teams. I'm not saying that, because I, ripped on Trudeau this week, that makes me a conservative. No. He's commenting on the corruption on all angles, which amazingly sounds more journalistic than most journalists in corporate media. Because if you go to CNN or MSNBC or even here in Canada, they automatically assume that if you're critiquing one side of the argument or one party, that automatically you have to defend the other side. No, that's not what it's about. It's about looking the entirety of the system and critiquing it. Having a critical analysis regardless of the person, regardless of political party, regardless of where they stand. Corruption is corruption, regardless of the person, regardless of whether they're NDP or conservative or liberal or the Green Party, whoever it is, the Bloc Québécois. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the individual. It matters about the corruption of the party and the corruption within the systemic problem of the parliamentary system. That's what he's trying to do here as a commentator, and he's a sports broadcaster. And that's maybe why people are turning into the show more often. He's saying that maybe that's why people like watching me. Even if they disagree with me, at least I'm being honest about it. Let's see the rest of this.
Okay? Because I got news for you. Politicians make mistakes. And the taxes I pay every year, I can talk about it. And so can you, and so can you, and we can disagree about all kinds of things. So as long as I'm here...
I just have to stop there because I make that argument constantly when people say that, well, you didn't vote the right way, so you have no stance in arguing. You have no stance in critiquing. You have no stance in saying anything about politics because you didn't vote a certain way. I'm a Canadian citizen. I pay my dues. I pay my taxes. Doesn't that guarantee me the right to say where politics is going? I think that guarantees that to anybody. Just because you didn't vote the way that a certain person wants you to vote doesn't magically assume that you don't have any say in how the system should be run. You're a Canadian citizen. You have every right to critique the government. You have every right to critique the political stature of this country. The people that say, even the people that don't vote, you have more of a right to say that for the people that didn't vote than the people that did vote. Because if your guy gets in office and they're massively corrupted, well, you're the one that voted him in. So it fathoms me when people make that statement that like, oh, you have no right to say anything about politics. You have no right to say anything about that because you didn't vote the certain way I wanted you to vote for. What makes you the arbiter of deciding who gets what say of politics?
That's what I'm doing, whether you like it or not, because that's my mandate. Second thing, Mel, I'm way over. Do you want to do news, or can I go another 2 minutes?
I'd like to do news, that's okay.
Damn it.
She said go ahead.
Sorry. Thanks, Robbie. I'll go. Second thing.
It's amazing that even the news anchor, he's cutting into the news anchor's time. She's like, yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Because maybe she agrees with him. Maybe they're all agreeing with this. This is like amazing. For morning television, for breakfast television in Toronto, to have a moment like this is just it's mind-blowing. Like, this is how you will never see this. You'll never, like I said, you'll never see this on the CBC or CTV or Global or even other parts of City News. You will never see anything like this in any corporate establishment because they all have an agenda. They all have an objective to continue on the status quo, continue on the capitalist regime of advertising, consumerism, and stuff like that. This guy is speaking from the heart saying, listen, stop being tribal. Stop picking, choosing sides. Stop attacking one another because it's all bullshit. And it is. Fighting each other from the left and right from left. It's ridiculous. And this is what I've been trying to say to people for the longest time, is that regardless of identity, we're all human beings. We need to fight for the common goods of human beings. You know, clean air, clean water, healthcare, education, infrastructure, jobs program, the end to war. Like, these are all things that should be common regardless of where you stand politically. And if we start from there, then maybe we can actually unite the country instead of just telling people to fall into line or shut the hell up, because it's not working.
I had a conversation once with someone from America. This is years ago. I was working on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, who said about the political system in America. The problem with the political system is you're not allowed to be your own person. He said, I like some things Democrats do. I like some things Republicans do. But you have to pick a team. This is before Trump. You have to pick a team. And the most dangerous aspect of our society is the sheep who just follows the party because that's your color. Because you're red, because you're blue, because you're orange, it doesn't matter. You have to say this because that's your person. You need to believe this because that's your person. That is the most dangerous part of what's going on right now. And
he is definitely on point. And like I said, the reason I'm showing you this is to let people know, even on the online community, this is what you're doing. This is when people are attacking you, you know, with all the people attacking people for the COVID mandates or attacking people for free speech, attacking people regardless of you know, the situation. The minute you start saying that, you know, they're racist or they're white supremacist or they must be a Trumper then because they disagree with something the Democrats are doing. Or, you know, if they disagree with something Trump is doing, that makes you a Democrat, and so on and so forth. The minute you start doing that, it gets dangerous. And this is what's happening. People have become so tribal. It's almost like two religious institutions fighting out against each other. It's like the Democrat institution is fighting against the Republican institution, when really the Democrats and Republicans are the exact same thing. They're both screwing you in the ass. They're both oppressing you. But people believe that you have to pick a team. That somehow they're opposing teams. They're not. They're bought by the same people, they're ruled by the same people, and they serve the same people. Wall Street, the military-industrial complex, the big oil and gas tycoons, the big tech companies, they all serve their masters. But it's these people that don't think critically and don't become an individual and automatically choose a side because they feel comfortable in those sides that go along with the flow, and they don't realize that it's hurting people. The people that are, you know, vote blue no matter who, or even people that are saying red no matter what, the red wave, like, those people are hurting the system. They're hurting this society. They're hurting people within their own country. And the fact that you're screaming and yelling at your neighbors for stuff that the oligarchy is doing to you. Like, why are you screaming at your neighbor? Like, it makes no sense. And that's dangerous in any form, in any society. And that's what he's saying right here on morning television.
Not just down there. No. It's happening here. We're allowed to differ on a lot of different things. But I would strongly urge a lot of you who believe that your demagogue does not make a mistake as a party leader, whether you're Poilievre, Trudeau, Singh, I don't care who you are, Doug Ford, Kathleen Wynne, Francois Legault in Quebec, I don't care who it is. They all make mistakes. They're all not perfect. Now, you can disagree with me on specific items, but if you're just going to say you can't say this because, you got to take a walk, and I'm not hearing it. I'm not. That is the worst part of the society, is that ignorance. And we got to fix that. We got to fix that. I'm sorry.
It's clickbait, right? So they hear the 15-second soundbite, and you always say this isn't about a political party. It's the person and the topic of the day and how you feel about it in that way. So if you don't say anything, we're called sheep. If you do say something, we're called sheep. You can't win. All you could do is speak from the heart. And quite frankly, it's refreshing to see, and that's why you are here.
Love to do.
God, what a white supremacist he sounds like. You know, be your own individual. Think for yourself. Be critical of all the establishment. Oh my God, he sounds the worst. He must be a trucker. He must be a trucker or a farmer or whatever nightmarish evil goon that are Canadian government wants us to fear. But he makes such excellent points. Such excellent points. And this is coming from a sportscaster who is co-hosting a morning talk show. And he's just speaking from the heart, saying that it's ridiculous to, be tribal for people, the Blue Who people, or the people that are signed with Trudeau, or the people that are signed with Poilievre. And I've been telling people this, that, Pierre Poilievre winning conservatorship. Okay, you have your leader. There's someone against Trudeau. There's someone that's, having a different opinion than the status quo. Okay, that's good to hear. It's important to hear the other side of the story. But whether it's Pierre Poilievre, whether it's Jagmeet Singh, whether it's Justin Trudeau, no matter the face of the leadership, we still have bounds of corruption within the institution. We have mounds of corruption within the parliamentary system. We have mounds of corruption because of the corporate capture of our democracy. And that's in Canada, that's in the United States, that's all over the world. And that's what people need to wake up and realize. They need to become individuals. They need to think critically and get out of the political spectrum. They need to get out and, get out of the liberal conservative bubble, get out of the Democrat Republican bubble, and stop choosing sides, stop always, cheerleading for your political party because you feel comfortable in that political party. Yeah, you may agree with them 80% of the time, but at the same time, you have to be critical of them because they're playing the same game as the Conservatives, or playing the same game as the opposing party. So, it is refreshing to hear this on morning television, on breakfast television. People are just sipping their coffee, they're making their eggs and bacon, or having oatmeal. I don't know what people eat these days. Maybe they're health conscious. They're just having their oatmeal. And they're listening to about, 3 minutes of truth telling from a sportscaster. And they're probably spitting out their coffee. First of all, they're probably spitting out their coffee going, what the hell is going on? I turned on to BT. I thought they were going to talk about fashion. Like, who's running that show? Maybe they got good producers. I don't know. Maybe they're just, letting things just roam free. I don't know. The cat's out of the bag there. But that is the most honest, truthful, genuine statement that someone has ever made in that broadcast industry. That someone saying, hey, I'm paid to be on television, to speak my mind. I'm going to speak clearly, and I'm going to say, stop with this back and forth, stop with this tribalism, stop with, the political party, virtue signaling bullshit. Focus on humanity. Focus on the bigger picture. Focus on being an individual in this society. Think critically. You have to take in all the establishment and not just pick and choose your favorite candidates, pick and choose your favorite political parties. And like I said, I supported Bernie. I thought, AOC was going to change things up. I thought Tulsi Gabbard was going to change things up. And I soon later to realize, and still, it's, come to this point that they're, sheep for the Democratic Party. They're slills. They're just absolutely the worst imaginable people, because they're placating to the Democratic Party, the same party that they railed against and campaigned against on, and won their seat and won being part of the House. And now they're siding up with the corruption. They're siding with the people that they're supposed to be fighting against. And that to me is shameful. That to me is more shameful than anything Republicans are doing. Because Bernie knows better. AOC knows better. Tulsi Gabbard knew better. But to side with the people that you're fighting against, that are massively corrupted, and continue to do so, and then shit on people that are actually trying to help you. They're actually trying to help people away from the shitty establishment and actually fight for the greater good and take a massive dump on those people saying that their words are violent. Like, that to me is more disgusting. That to me is more dangerous than Marjorie Taylor Greene or even what's her face, the weird church lady, Lauren Boebert. Like, to me, that's more dangerous in society. To have people like AOC and the Squad and Bernie that know better, know a hell of a lot better, but they're still going to side with the establishment, still side with the corruption, still side with the awful policies that Joe Biden's placing on individuals. And same with here in Canada. NDP know better than to side with the Liberals, but they're going to do it anyway. Why? Because they're a bunch of career climbers. They're a bunch of useless career climbers that really didn't give a shit about you in the first place. And that's what people are starting to wake up to realize, and that's what Sid here is mentioning on national television. On breakfast television, not national television. It's only in Toronto, but this is definitely going viral. And for good reason, because you'll never see this. You'll never see this on any morning program. Probably anywhere in North America. So this is definitely refreshing to hear.